Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today I have Ajay Prasad on the line, and he's founder and CEO of RepuGen. Ajay, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and happy to be here.
All right, Ajay. So we have a lot to cover today. So we'll be talking about reputation management, specifically as it relates to the medical field. And I mean, you have a lot of data, a lot of information to share. And as we are warming up for this interview, I got excited because I'm like, many of us that are consumers in healthcare, if we're not using it often now, we're going to need it one day, that's for sure. So our doctors, picking the right doctor, picking the right medical professionals to work with is a big deal. So I'm excited to learn more about RepuGen. But before we get into that, I'll start this with our Mission Matters Minute. So Ajay, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. So that's our mission here. Ajay, what mission matters to you?
For me, the big mission for RepuGen is to make sure that what you see about the doctor on the internet is exactly how their patients feel. Our experience with marketing for doctors was that over 95% of their patients are very happy. But if you look at the website on the review pages, it will sound like 95% of the patients are unhappy. Yeah. And that is something that is not fair for either doctor or the patient. So that was our mission, is to align those numbers. So someone is not, if there's a horrible doctor and most of the patients are unhappy, that's how it should be. But if most of the patients are happy, that's how it should look like on the internet also. So that's our mission.
That's awesome. So love working with and bringing on mission-based entrepreneurs and executives to share why they do what they do. So great stuff there. And before we go further into RepuGen, maybe let's just start a little bit more with your background and really just how you got started on this path. So how did you get started really as an entrepreneur and on your way to RepuGen?
So as an entrepreneur, actually, I'm still a recovering corporate. I was in corporations for close to 20 years. And after my last job, I thought I had paid my dues to the corporate world. So I started my own business just because I wanted to have more control over my life and my career, both. When you are working for a corporation, no matter where you are always dependent on other people, whether you are right or wrong. I mean, here, if I'm wrong, I pay for it. If I'm right, I get the benefit. So that's the control I wanted. So that's how I started. And I've been in a marketing business forever. So it was logical for me to start a service in marketing. And then it was the era where people did not even think that they needed a website. I decided to focus on the website. Guess what? It was like more of the new area of business, and I had some expertise in it from this world. So that's where I started my own agency. And we were marketing for everyone. Now we just focus on healthcare providers. I do still have some legacy clients. But what happened that some of my healthcare clients, when they came in, and we do just digital marketing, right? So we just want to make sure that when someone is looking for, my other business, which I still own it, but I'm very involved in RepuGen is now my sucks up 95% of my time. Happily, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
So, but what was very clear to me that, okay, my job was to make sure that I can bring the healthcare providers in front of their patients when they're looking for their service, right, on the internet. The problem was that more and more patients started to rely on the reviews or the selection process. And so it dawned on me that unless we take care of the reviews, it won't, no matter what we do, if the reviews are poor, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Now, so we knew that someone who is in business, who is successful, and cannot have 95% of the patient unhappy, right?
Yeah.
So we went to the doctors, we asked them, we, did some manual program to say, hey, you need to put some signage, you have to start suggesting people that they write reviews.
Yeah.
So that's what we were trying to do. And my eye opener was that there was one urgent care center that came to me for business, and I checked them, and actually I made, knowing in the same business, I said, I don't think I can help you because
Mm.
how your clients are what, no one will go to this urgent care center.
Yeah.
People are so unhappy. And she was like, it's not true. I have clients, and she was very passionate about it.
Hmm.
We have been in business for 25 years. And so I'm like, okay, when I look at your reviews, I cannot tell. So that's
Yeah.
when I realized that I needed to have a process in place where actually the actual satisfaction of patient is reflected on the reviews online.
Man.
So we started with doing some research and understood how people are using how they are consuming reviews in their selection process of doctors. And then that was the reason why finally we said, okay, let's build a software program
Mhm.
where we can automate the process so that, I'm not doing anything magic, but at least the review should be a real reflection of patient satisfaction, not some, handful of unhappy patient writing it.
Yeah, that's I mean, what a great story. And one of the things that I like about your story in general is that you really you defined a niche. So you were already working, you're already, successful, you had your business, you had your clients, and then you see this big like opportunity slash problem in the marketplace slash, whatever you want to call it, but it was glaring, like you couldn't help it. You're like, I can't even help this client, like that this is a problem that I need to solve and I need to fix. And you took it upon yourself to do it, hence RepuGen. That being said, there's some other, entrepreneurs that maybe aren't as far along as you in their career, and they're watching this right now, and they maybe have some big issues or some big opportunities that they want to, they want to approach or that they want to take on. Now, obviously, you're much further along the line in your entrepreneurial journey than you were when you started, of course, even though you had 20 years of corporate experience plus under your belt. What kind of advice would you give to maybe that next group of entrepreneurs that are out there trying to solve problems and trying to make a difference?
A couple of things, first thing I always say that you should only do things that you are passionate about.
Yeah.
And I will tell you the reason for that is
Mhm.
being an entrepreneur is a very difficult journey. It's, unfortunately, people always see, so no one knows about the failed entrepreneurs, right? A lot
Mhm.
of people give up. By the way, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. A long time back, I had quit and tried to become an entrepreneur. And after 2 years of, when my MasterCard could not pay Visa and vice versa, I had to
Mhm.
go back to the corporate world.
Pain. It's pain. And I tell people that too. Being an entrepreneur is pain.
So unless you have the passion for it,
Mhm.
you will quit.
Mm.
It's very difficult in the beginning. So you have to have passion, and you
Mhm.
have to have the right expectation that it's not going to be instant success, right?
Mm.
So that's the first thing that I say. Make sure
Mhm.
that you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur. You are going to be persistent.
Mhm.
You love what you're doing. You're passionate about, what, I feel like I'm bringing a meaning to what I am doing. There is something that overall, I'm not changing the world, but I'm helping some people.
Mm.
And so along the same line, I always say it will be much easier to be an entrepreneur if you are doing something which has a real value for someone.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that, again, it's world changing, but you
Mhm.
have to make sure that you are providing value, the real value for people, so that you will also feel good about it, right? You
Mhm.
go to bed wondering why the hell I'm doing this thing. Uh,
Yeah.
just and honestly, I have not known of any long-term business that can survive without bringing real value. So in generally speaking, but yes, you want to make sure that what you are doing is really creating value, and
Mm.
and ideally if the value that you are creating is much more than what you're charging, you're on to a successful entrepreneur journey.
It's great, great, and very, very well said too. So I always like to get that insight, because I think all the entrepreneurs that are watching this right now, like, they lean in, they remember those times or those tough times, or maybe they're going through the tough times right now, right? And this gives them hope, and they're like, I got to keep going. This is something I'm supposed to do. So appreciate you sharing that. Let's move on, and let's switch it up a bit. So we've mentioned reputation management and this idea of specifically reputation management in the healthcare industry. We've talked about it a little bit, but I want to go further. So I think let's start with the root kind of thing that happens when, and I was thinking about this as I was preparing for the interview, and the best analogy or metaphor I could come up with was thinking about like Amazon, or like I'm on Amazon and I want to buy something, and who's getting to the top of that list? It's either who has the most reviews, who paid for the most ads, but I can't necessarily always get to the right product that I want. So in this case, when I look at what you're doing, when I look at the reviews and reputation management, and when I think about Google, it's like, it's much more important. No offense to my shopping on Amazon, obviously, but I just mean, or anybody, or nothing against Amazon. But when we think about looking for a medical professional, whether it's a dentist, a plastic surgeon, a primary care doctor, if they're experience and if their end patient outcome doesn't match the reviews, that disconnect can be very troublesome. If the person that's always showing up at the top is just the person that has the best marketer and the best review platform, versus the other person, then what's happening is I may not, if I'm looking for a doctor, get to maybe the medical professional that I should be working with. And it's all based on this reputation management side, ad side, and a lot of other things that maybe most doctors, in my opinion, don't necessarily always consider. Am I off on this? Like, give me a little bit more, because you're working day in and day out on this.
So awareness is increasing. You are right that unfortunately, from the doctor's perspective,
Yeah.
medical groups perspective, they are in the very early stages of realizing that they need to make sure that their reviews online is a reflection of how happy their patients are. Okay, and this is how important it is. I'll give you an interesting example. So I'm talking to this primary care physician, one of my client. I was telling him that for reputation is very important for you, because people won't even come to you. For the specialist, for the surgeon, at least it's okay, because you are recommending to them. And he said, AJ, you would be surprised how many patients I recommend a doctor. They come back and they say, I don't want to go to this one because look at his reviews. I want to go to this one, this other doctor.
Wow.
Great review. And then,
so just to make sure, AJ, I want to make sure I understand that. So normally, just so I haven't been to the doctor in a while. So you go to the primary care physician, and the primary care physician is the one that's going to recommend the specialist, whether it's a podiatrist, whether it's a surgeon, whether it's anything else. And so when the primary care physician who gets the patient in the first place is recommending whatever that person is, that surgeon or something else, the patient that is now looking at who they recommended and they're saying, I don't want to go to them because of the reviews. Did I understand that correctly?
Exactly right. Exactly.
Wow. Oh, continue. I just want to make sure I got that right. It's amazing.
So the doctor is telling me that, he will end up, he said, I know that the doctor that I recommended is a better doctor than the one that he brought in, but you cannot stop them, right? So he said, fine, you go to that one, you would just recommend, approve this other specialist. So it is, people are making big decisions, and healthcare, again, like your point, on Amazon, you buy even a $200 stuff, right? And it turned out to be a dud because there's a mismatch between the reviews and the reality.
Yeah.
So you lost $200, right? It's not end of the world.
No.
But here, when you're talking about a surgeon, you're talking about the doctor that is for testing for your regular health. This is like a massive thing, and this is and honestly, this is a knowledge that I'm trying to spread among the doctors. That guys, you are doing even the patient a huge disfavor by
Mm-hmm.
not taking care of your reviews, because then you are a good doctor. If you are a good doctor, and they're going to someone who may or may not be as good as you are, right? So, I mean, again, patients are making decision, and by the way, our research says that over 80% of the patient, 81% was to be the exact number,
Mm-hmm.
would consult the reviews in their selection
Mm-hmm.
process. But more important is that 75% said that they would not go to a doctor with under 4-star reviews. So
Wow.
that's how important it is. And actually, and the other thing also is that no review is as bad as bad review.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, people are looking for reviews in their decision process. So if there's no review, there's no review, right? So they are not going to go to a doctor and say, "Oh, I'll give him a benefit of doubt because he has no review." Imagine you're talking about your health here,
Yeah.
something very serious. So there is this massive mismatch
Mm.
needs to be addressed really, and the medical community needs to wake up really in this particular area, because it's not hard.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I have seen this. So we have over 1,500 patients, clients, the doctors who are our clients. And obviously, when they come to me, these are the people who are finding us, right? And coming to
Mm-hmm.
us, we need to manage our reputation. Of course, no one comes to us because it's a stellar reputation, right? They
Yeah,
come,
exactly.
it's not very good. And so part of the thing that we also do is we also measure the patient satisfaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a doctor with horrible reviews, generally speaking, there are exceptions. Their satisfaction level of patient is almost same as the ones who have been our client for
Yeah.
and have stellar reviews. But unfortunately, their patient don't know, or the prospective patient,
Mm-hmm.
their patients know. So that's where the thing is. A lot of doctors think that I don't care, my patient know me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're the other patient who may be thinking about you, about using your services,
Mm-hmm.
no, right? And their frame of reference is whatever they see on,
Mm.
on the review sites.
No, I think that's well said. And one point that I guess I'd like to make there is that when you say that their reputation externally isn't so good, right? And they have bad reviews or something else, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily bad doctors. As you said, there might be some exceptions, right? Some practice that's maybe not
Yes.
not getting their patient satisfaction, but like on the majority of them, it just has to do with they're not getting enough of the right reputation management, the right reviews. So what happens if one patient has one bad experience, they're the ones that go and do the review. You get a couple of those that add up, and then you don't have any good reviews because you're not even asking maybe your patient. So patients don't even know you want reviews, right? You have somebody that you've been treating for how long, and they probably love you and they're the best ever. And if you asked them for a review or had a system or anything else, maybe you'd have another side. But you add that up, and then when somebody goes to your website or they see the reviews on Google, it can paint a completely different picture to what's actually happening in the practice.
And also it's naturalized. So there are a couple of facts. So one fact is you can never satisfy 100% of the people,
For
right?
sure.
You have, a small percent who is going to be unhappy for one reason or another. I
Yeah.
mean, we even do surveys. Very few people are unhappy with doctors, but they could be writing about, the front desk was rude, wait
Yeah.
time was something. Now, if someone is judging on just looking at the stars, is not going to go through 50 reviews to say, well, people are generally talking about the front desk. That's
Yeah.
good enough, right? So that is one thing that you can never keep everyone happy. Some people will always be unhappy. It's just fact of life.
Yeah.
And the second piece also is that if you think about in our own life, it's if you go there and you have a satisfactory experience, right? Everything is fine.
So AJ, what I'm hearing is, there's this disconnect between what the reviews are saying and then what the patients or potential patients are actually seeing when they go to Google or the website. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. So when people come to us, our clients, the new clients that we sign up,
Yeah.
they don't come to us because they have stellar online reviews. Usually they'll come and say, we need to manage our own online reviews, the online reputation, because there are like 7 patients that I know and they are a bad patient, of course, or whatever, for whatever reason they are unhappy. And those are the only one that's showing up. And we always know. So one of the things that we also do as part of our process is that we would always, when we do these surveys, when we request that, we also survey the patient satisfaction just to see what is going on. Almost invariably, I would say, the vast majority, there are some exceptions, their satisfaction level is same as our typical clients who have like stellar reviews online. They have been with us for a long time. So that's what I'm saying. So we know that there's a disconnect, but even on the practical side, if you think about it, how often do you go to a place to a doctor? And I know that you said you don't go to a doctor, you're a lucky one. You've not been going there. But even if you go to the restaurant, everything that we use on a regular basis, how often do you think that you want to write a review? If you're totally delighted, which can happen once in a while, but most of the time you are satisfied, right?
Yeah.
You have no complaints, but that doesn't mean that you feel like you have to go and write that, oh, I was satisfied, I was happy. But if you're unhappy, you definitely want to share the social media. And that's the reason I've always said that social media is so negative.
Yeah.
Look at it, you don't have many happy people writing stuff on social media. It's like, most of the people are very unhappy. And this is a kind of social media, right? You are going and sharing your experience. So that's where it's almost always for, and the medical community, they do need to take it very seriously. I said, because otherwise they are doing disservice to themselves and also to patients who are looking for their expertise.
So you mentioned, I think this is a great transition. So I want to go further into talking about specifically the platform RepuGen and how you're helping the medical community. So for example, you mentioned earlier that you do surveys of patients. I believe you've done over 1 million of these. Is that correct?
Yes. So
it's quite a few. So tell me more about how you're executing on this, please.
So for us, it is our platform is very simple. What we do is we integrate with the EMR of the doctors, our platform. And after they have seen the patients, we send them a quick survey and we send them a request for review, right? So we just do that so that we would know about the experience, what happened, right? And some of the things that we also do is obviously with our survey, we tell providers that if someone has an unhappy experience, I want you to reach out to them very quickly.
Yeah.
In 24 hours. And candidly, because of that, also some people who would have written a poor review and writing it, we are not stopping anyone. You cannot stop anyone, right, from writing a bad review. If you know that immediately after someone has left that he or she is unhappy, you reach out to that person, then the chances are that they will end up being a happy customer rather than going and writing a bad review. So when we do this survey and we ask them, what did you like and not like about the doctors? And that's where we have like over 1 million from patients. And we use those comments very extensively. Actually, we use those comments we analyze those. We have a artificial intelligence based analytical tool. Just scans through every comment and then categorizes it, right? So the positive about the doctor, this is a negative about the doctor, this is positive about the nurses, front desk and everything. So that we are not just helping them align the reviews, online reviews with the actual patient satisfaction. We are also helping them improve their practice so that even the satisfaction level will increase. And hopefully, as a result, the reviews will even get better. Because again, no matter how good you are, I've always said that perfection is a destiny, right? You never
Yeah.
reach. And so same thing is true. No matter how good a practice everything is, they can always improve.
Mm.
And so this platform does that. So that's the reason. That's why we use all those surveys, those comments. So you can imagine like million comments about the experience. And medical care, we use those comments to train our engine. And then for the individual doctors and medical practices, we give them specific about them. So it's like, here's a huge tool, numbers that we use to, to train, so
Yeah.
that he knows that, oh, this is about the doctor, this is about nurse and all. And then, like I said, and for the doctors, we don't say, hey, these patients said about, this is based on the million. We tell them specifically about them, about what happened, what their patients are saying, what they're happy about, unhappy. But again, if you think about it, if you're a doctor, you are seeing 20 patients a day. Just in 1 month, you have thousands, right?
Yeah.
So if you are trying to understand why someone is happy, you're not going to read the 1,000 comments. So that's what we do. We analyze those comments also to make it easier for them to understand, what's going on, why people are happy,
Yeah.
where they can improve.
No, that's great. And I want to go, let's go further into the actual the science of the reviews, because I'm glad you brought up AI and kind of some of the technology behind it. So first thing, I know that when people think about reviews, like recent reviews matter. Like you mentioned to me that, like, tell me more about that.
Couple of things. So there was another survey that we did, and this year we did the second time. What we do is we survey over 1,500 consumers all over the country, right, using the random panel tools. We don't know these people, and we don't even know who answered that. So
Yeah.
this is like a market research. And we asked them, how do you use it? And that's where I found out that 81% said yes, we use them.
Yeah.
So we also talk about other behavior, what you are expecting. So the couple of things, when it comes to you looking at the survey, evaluating the comments of a doctor, anything more than 6 months old, they ignore it. Their thinking is this is too old. So they want the current, later the better. So if they could see that someone has written yesterday,
Yeah.
the doctor, it gives them more a better idea that this is what to expect if I go there, right? Versus what someone said 1 year back.
For sure.
And then they read interesting, and it's not interesting. I would say this, upon reflection, it is common sense, because the magnitude of their decision, at least 10 is the minimum number of reviews they read. So if someone has only 5 reviews, tough luck, because it's not sufficient for them to make their decision.
So quantity, quality, of course, and then currency. So like it has to be current.
Yep, exactly right. So what we current, or recency. So all 3 is very important. So exactly. So those are very important. And as a result, the best thing that medical practices can do is just have a process where you are generating reviews on a regular basis. That's all you want to do is keep on requesting people to write reviews, and you're getting those reviews on a regular basis. And that takes care of it.
Yeah.
I said, this is one area where, generally speaking, people are happy anyway. So it's just a matter of having a process in place so that you really want, you don't want to hide that, right? If you're 95% of the people are happy, then you shouldn't be hiding that fact. You should be just amplifying it. What it does also is, like, you get a real sense for how good. And also what we have started doing is, because we we have so many sample, right? We have a number of doctors, and we have even scanned a lot of the reviews of even the non-client of our doctors. So we can even give our clients some sort of percentile. It's like, hey, your review is better than X% of the doctors. Your specialization, so that they can even see how they compare against the peers. But again, I really believe that every healthcare provider need to be, proactively managing reviews. And you already know it is true for almost any business now, right? Business, the restaurant business literally survives on that. 100% they survives on the reviews. And Harvard has done a study, and they have said that 1-star improvement in review could be anywhere between 5 to 9% in revenue. I mean, that's the Harvard research. So again, it is given, but for doctors, it is life and death situation. Should definitely be, more focused.
Awesome. Well, Ajay, this has been great having you on the show. So, I mean, I learned a lot from RepuGen. I mean, over 1 million surveys done, helping over 1,500 doctors or medical professionals currently. I think it's awesome what you're doing. So I have to ask, so what's next? What's next for you? What's next for RepuGen?
So for RepuGen is there are 200,000 doctors. 1,500 is just like, little tip of the iceberg, right? So we need to really expand it and make sure that more and more doctors start to take care of it. The hospitals, surprisingly, you would be amazed how much internal patient satisfaction surveys hospitals do. But if you go and look at the online reviews, it's horrible. I mean, I'm just always baffled why the healthcare providers don't think that they need to make sure that it's aligned. So we want to start to help hospitals. And then for RepuGen, I'm also trying to find out how do I make it more useful for our clients. Beyond that, we have ton of data. We know we are like, we just, by the way, this analytics that I told you about, using artificial intelligence, we just started a couple of months back. It took us a year and a half and a lot of money investment to come up with that tool to start to analyze it. Because for me, I always thought that it's such a waste that a doctor has so many comments just sitting there in their in their dashboard. They cannot do anything out of it. So now I with this new feature, I'm able to help them also do a better job, right, of improve their whole own operation. So again, we are very deep into the healthcare. We are just trying to make this thing as useful as possible for doctors and for the patients.
Fantastic. Well, Ajay, if somebody's listening to this right now and they want to learn more about RepuGen, what's the best way for them to do that?
So the best way would be to just go to the website. It's www.repugen.com. It sounds like almost like a drug company. It's RepuGen.
Fantastic.
So, that's repugen.com. That is the best place to go, and you can find all the information. And also, if you just Google RepuGen, then you would, you would find a lot of information about that.
Awesome. And we'll put that in the show notes also, just to make it really easy for our audience. We want them to definitely go and check it out. And again, so thank you, Ajay, for coming on the show. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Especially if you're a first-time listener or visitor, we want you to definitely hit that subscribe button. We have many more mission-based business owners, entrepreneurs, and experts coming up for you next. And we don't want you to miss a thing. And Ajay, it really has been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adam.